What if I told you that most of the things you're worrying about right now will never actually happen? Think about it. Your mind spends hours replaying the past and predicting disasters in the future, but almost none of it comes true. The Stoics understood this thousands of years ago. They believed that worry and overthinking are like carrying a heavy bag of rocks everywhere you go. Weights that don't belong to you, but you still hold on to them. And here's the secret. Once you drop them, life suddenly feels lighter, calmer, and more in your control. In this video, we'll explore 8 ancient Stoic habits that can train your mind to stop worrying, quiet the noise, and find peace, no matter what life throws at you. If you want to strengthen your mind and live with unshakable calm, stay with me until the end. And if Stoic wisdom inspires you, consider subscribing. It's free, and it could completely change the way you see your life. Habit 1. Focus only on what you can control. One of the most powerful Stoic lessons comes from Epictetus, who said, "Some things are in our control and others not." Simple words, but they contain a truth that can transform your life. Most of our worry doesn't come from reality. It comes from fighting battles we can't win. You worry about how people will perceive you, whether your boss will be in a bad mood, or whether the future will play out in your favor. But here's the brutal truth. You don't control those things. What you do control is how you show up, how much effort you put in, and the attitude you carry into each situation. The Stoics believe that anxiety is the mind's punishment for trying to manage what lies outside its reach. Imagine rowing a boat. You control your strokes, your effort, and the direction you choose. But you don't control the wind, the tide, or whether a storm comes. If you spend all your energy cursing the weather, you'll sink. But if you focus on your strokes, you'll at least keep moving. The modern world constantly tempts us to stress over what we can't control. Social media, politics, people's opinions. This habit requires mental discipline. Every time you catch yourself overthinking, pause and ask, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. It sounds simple, but the freedom it gives you is massive. You suddenly stop wasting emotional energy on things you never had power over anyway. And that leaves you with more energy to invest in the one thing you always control: yourself. This is the first step to silencing worry. Habit 2. Practice negative visualization. At first, this habit might sound strange. Why would you intentionally think about negative outcomes? But the Stoics used a practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, to prepare their minds for life's storms. Marcus Aurelius would wake up and remind himself, "Today you will meet people who are selfish, arrogant, deceitful, and ungrateful." Harsh? Yes. But he wasn't being pessimistic. He was building resilience. Here's the logic. When you imagine possible difficulties in advance, you disarm their power over you. Worry comes from surprise. Something bad happens, and your mind panics because it wasn't ready. But if you've already pictured the challenge, you meet it calmly, almost as if you've been there before. For example, if you imagine losing money, you'll value what you have more and won't collapse if financial hardship comes. If you imagine rejection, you'll build confidence to face it with strength. Negative visualization also shrinks overthinking. Instead of "what if this happens?" spinning endlessly in your head, you face the fear directly, play it out, and accept it. Then you realize, even if it happens, I can endure it. And that realization kills anxiety at the root. Try it tonight. Picture the things you fear most: failure, loss, embarrassment. Don't obsess, but briefly walk through them. Then remind yourself that you're strong enough to face them. Suddenly, tomorrow feels less threatening. This habit doesn't make you morbid. It makes you untouchable. Habit 3. Live one day at a time. One of Seneca's most famous lines is, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Worry and overthinking almost always live in two places: the past and the future. You replay old mistakes, or you fast forward into imagined disasters. But here's the Stoic secret. The only place you truly live is now. And when you fully focus on the present, worry begins to dissolve. Think about it. Most of the things you feared 5 years ago never came true. Most of the pain you predicted didn't happen. Yet you carried that weight for nothing. Overthinking borrows suffering from the future and keeps you trapped in a cage that doesn't even exist. The Stoics trained their minds to stay rooted in the present. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself, "Confine yourself to the present." Living one day at a time means focusing your energy on what's right in front of you. Your work, your conversations, your actions today. When you wake up, you don't need to solve your entire life. You just need to live this day with clarity, courage, and purpose. A practical exercise. When you catch your mind spiraling, ask yourself, what do I actually need to do right now? Maybe it's answering one email, finishing one task, or even just breathing. Bringing yourself back to the present moment cuts off the endless what-ifs of the future. This habit is not about ignoring your future. It's about mastering it by focusing on the only piece of time you ever truly control: today. Habit 4. Embrace voluntary discomfort. One of the ways Stoics built inner peace was by practicing voluntary discomfort. Seneca often reminded himself to sleep on the floor, wear simple clothes, and eat basic food, even though he was one of the wealthiest men of Rome. Why? Because he wanted to prove to himself that he could live with less. That way, when real hardship came, he was already prepared. Worry and overthinking often come from fear. Fear of losing what you have, fear of suffering, fear of not being comfortable. But when you practice discomfort, that fear shrinks. Imagine going without your favorite food for a week, or taking a cold shower, or walking instead of driving. At first, it feels inconvenient, but then you realize, I can handle this. I'm stronger than I thought. Suddenly, the unknown doesn't scare you as much. The Stoics weren't seeking misery. They were seeking freedom. By training themselves to live with less, they freed their minds from dependency. Modern life makes us soft. Air conditioning, constant entertainment, fast food. These comforts create hidden chains because we panic at the thought of losing them. Voluntary discomfort breaks those chains. If you want to stop worrying, try this habit. Skip one comfort this week. Whether it's coffee, your phone for a day, or even sleeping without a pillow. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about reminding yourself that you are tougher than your comforts. And when you know you can endure more than you thought, worry begins to fade. Habit 5. Journal to clear the mind. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations wasn't meant to be published. It was his personal journal, a place where he wrote down his frustrations, doubts, and lessons to strengthen his own mind. This simple habit, writing your thoughts, can be one of the most powerful tools to stop overthinking. When your mind feels heavy, your thoughts spin endlessly, and you can't find peace, grab a pen and start writing. Don't worry about grammar or structure. Just let the thoughts flow onto the page. This process takes the chaos in your head and organizes it into something you can actually see. Suddenly, your worries shrink. They're no longer infinite clouds, but words on paper. The Stoics believed in self-examination. Epictetus encouraged people to review their day. What did I do well? What did I do badly? What can I do better tomorrow? By doing this, you shift from vague worry to clear action. Instead of being stuck in your head, you find solutions. Today, we call this journaling, but it's really an ancient Stoic practice of mental clarity. Spend 10 minutes each night writing down what's troubling you, what you're grateful for, and what you learned. You'll sleep better, and you'll wake up with a lighter mind. Overthinking thrives in silence, but writing cuts through the noise. Habit 6. Control your inner dialogue. If you want to calm your mind, you must master your inner voice. Most of the time, worry isn't caused by the world. It's caused by the story you tell yourself about the world. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." Think about it. Two people can face the same situation, say, losing a job. One spirals into panic, thinking, "I'm a failure, my life is over." The other says, "This is a chance to grow and find something better." The event is the same, but the inner dialogue changes everything. Overthinking often happens because your mind feeds you negative scripts. What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if I'm not good enough? The Stoic habit is to stop and challenge these scripts. Replace "what if I fail" with "what if I learn." Replace "people will judge me" with "their judgment changes nothing about who I am." Marcus Aurelius used his inner voice like a shield. In his meditations, he constantly reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You can do the same. Whenever anxiety rises, pause and rewrite the story in your head. This habit takes practice, but it's life-changing. Your inner dialogue can be your greatest enemy, or your most powerful ally. The Stoics trained it to be the latter. Habit 7. Practice gratitude daily. Worry and overthinking often come from focusing on what's missing. You think about what you don't have, what could go wrong, what might be lost. The Stoics flipped this mindset by practicing daily gratitude. Seneca said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Gratitude isn't just about being polite. It's a weapon against worry. When you shift your attention to what you already have, your fears about the future shrink. You stop obsessing over scarcity and start recognizing abundance. This doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means balancing them with perspective. Imagine starting each morning by listing 3 things you're grateful for. Not just big things like family or health, but small ones, a hot cup of tea, sunlight, or a quiet moment. Suddenly, your mind shifts. Instead of waking up anxious, you start the day grounded. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to be grateful for simply being alive. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. That simple thought can instantly calm the storm of worry. This habit is easy, but incredibly powerful. The more you practice gratitude, the less room your mind has for overthinking. You can't be grateful and anxious at the same time. Habit 8. Meditate on mortality, memento mori. The final Stoic habit might seem heavy, but it's one of the most liberating. Remembering that life is short. The Stoics practiced memento mori. Remember you must die. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Why does this stop worry? Because when you remember how brief life is, most of your anxieties look small. That awkward moment you replay in your head? It doesn't matter in the big picture. That future scenario you fear? It may never happen. Life is too short to waste on imaginary fears. Marcus Aurelius often meditated on death, not to be morbid, but to sharpen his focus. He reminded himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Instead of drowning in overthinking, he used mortality as a guide to live fully. Try this habit. When worry overwhelms you, ask yourself, if this were my last day, would it matter? Most of the time, the answer will free you. You'll realize that life is too precious to waste on constant mental noise. Memento mori doesn't make life darker. It makes it brighter. By facing death, you learn how to truly live. And in that clarity, worry dissolves.